folks, once again, it's Captain James Nelson here from Dude Crafts Guitars. All right, so here's what we're going to do is we're going to make another leady, or excuse me, a gin with a fabric top. The leddies now I use a lot thicker wood, and lately I've been using a lot of maple. But on the gin, we're going to do the fabric top, and we're going to put a decent coat of resin on it. So by the time we do that, it comes out really thick, and you really don't want that, because yeah, it just won't sound right. So what we're going to do is I've got this little birch plywood, and you can tell I haven't been a very good steward of it, but it'll work. And so we're going to make it fit, and we're going to get it to kind of rough shaped it already. Saw me on the bandsaw. I had obviously a resaw blade on there, so I had to really widen my cuts. So this is the base body. Now I do cut a lot of these myself. This one I had a CNC shop cut for me. And then we realized, of course, we need the middle brace. So I put a middle brace back in there. This is all Meranti. It's that Philippine mahogany. That's poplar. And then I sprayed these black because a lot of times when we make the leady, we use that, make that little Shaka F-hole thing going, right? So it kind of makes a good backdrop. But this one's going to be covered. Now you're going to see it. So that's that about that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to line everything up, get the glue out, and we're going to glue it together. Where did I put my ruler? There it is. I have a big bad habit of setting things down, looking right at them, and not being able to find them. So very important thing with all guitar making that I've found, and I'm trying to keep up with that, and that is to have a center line. So as I stated, of course, this is going to go get all covered. So we're going to attach it a little differently than we normally do. A lot of times we just use basic clamps. We're going to do on this, we're actually going to use a combo of clamps and screws. And again, I just want to make sure I know where my center line is. That is importante. Which is San Diegan for gotta do it, dude. No, actually, that's San Diego. All right. We can edit a lot of this out. This is gobbledygook. Okay, so we've got. I'm not worried about any that gets on the side, because even though the shop where I got this done sealed the wood, it's going to get all sanded off later. And so it's actually a good thing, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted them to seal it, so that when I glued the tops on, it'd be real easy to get that glue off. And then I go back and I sand it all down. Most of the time past the sealer, back to the raw wood again. And then do whatever finish I want to and reseal it if I want to, or how I want to. I think they just did like a poly dip. So again, it's good to be really liberal with this stuff because I've already sanded this ply. It's going to soak a little bit into the ply, soak a little bit here. So if it looks like you've got just the right amount, you probably don't have enough. So you want a little bit too much. And anything that doesn't go into the woods, it's going to squeeze out. It makes a big mess, but it tells you that you've got enough in there. Because anything extra is going to squeeze out. When you see it squeeze out, you know you're in good company. Okay, that's probably good. Let's get a little bristle action out of that. Come on. Get these real cheap acid brushes. Great for this stuff, except of course the bristles don't stay. And take the place we don't want any bristles. That's gonna be good. Toss that. Now the trick. Screwdrivers line up again. One. Two things not everybody realizes about this type bond when they first start using it. I know I didn't. A, you got time to work with it. Don't think of it as like super glue. It's going to set up right now. So don't worry about it if it takes a little while, or if you leave your clamps halfway across the yard and you got to go get them. You got time. The other thing to realize about it too is that even though it kind of sounds like I'm contradicting what I just said, but it does set up pretty well, pretty firmly with and workable in a reasonable amount of time. I know a lot of guys think that you got to leave it on overnight, and although I do that in some instances, it's amazing just how ready to go the project is. All right, so that pulled that down. Now I'm just looking for gaps, and that's going to tell me what clamps I need. Looks like I don't even need any clamps back here. I'm still going to do it because that's just the way I am. And of course, definitely need clamps here. So I think I can get this done with just a couple little squeezy clamps. Kind of like this guy. So we do them first. It doesn't take a lot of pressure. Even when I do this with the maple tops, a lot of times I can get this done pretty quickly with just a few clamps, maybe a couple calling bars until you don't have them. 2 broken thumbs up. It's ready. That's it. Now we set that aside. Let that dry. It doesn't have to be overnight, but it probably will be, because at this time of day I'm not going to mess with it anymore. And we do something else. Let's get working on the neck. All right, you cut that. Okay, I get started on the neck, but I can't really. It requires clamping. Hey folks, thanks again for tuning in to another episode of Dude Craft Guitars Behind the Scenes. We hope you learned a little bit about what we do and why we like to do it. And you know, if that's the case, go ahead and hit the like button. And if you got a comment or two, go ahead and leave those, please. Share this video with friends. Hit the subscribe button. You'll know when the next one's coming out that way. We do a lot of stuff in parts and pieces, so you don't have to watch a long video. I hope you appreciate that. And we appreciate you coming along. Thanks.